What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Trading Wars. Today, I'm very pleased to have Lakeisha Brown, who I'm going to be interviewing, sharing some tips with you guys on trading, talking about her journey. I think it's very important that we have different perspectives from everyone when we're trading, and we really hope that Lakeisha's story will resonate with some of you and really inspire you to chase your dreams and not give up. All right, so without further ado, welcome, Lakeisha. How are you doing today?
I am awesome, Rich. Thank you so much for having me. I'm
Thank you.
excited.
Lakeisha is such a great person, guys. Her personality is so bubbly and energetic. I can't help but smile anytime I talk to her. So she's so awesome.
Well,
But
thank you.
what we're gonna do, guys, is we just want to get. We'll start off with just a little bit of background, I guess, Lakeisha, on how you got into trading. What is your story? How did you first get into this game?
Yeah, so pretty interesting in that I initially, like 7 or 8 years ago, initially started learning about stock options. Like that was my very first foray into learning to trade.
Mhm.
And I went to the bookstore. My favorite bookstore at the time back then was Borders. I don't know if any of you remember that, but but I went to Borders and I like picked up every book I could about learning how to trade stock options. And I put in $1,000 with Options Express. I don't even know if they're still around. I think they've been absorbed by Schwab. But I put in $1,000, and within a month, I eventually, fortunately, got back to that $1,000. Took my money out and just stopped
Mhm.
because I didn't have a mentor. I didn't really know what to do. The book theory can only take me so far.
Mhm.
And my mom used to always say, scared money don't make money. So I was, just trading scared because I really didn't really know what to do. So after that, I started looking for mentors, couldn't really find anyone. I didn't know anybody else in trading. So I just stopped. So fast forward to October 2019. I'm going to say this is what my real journey has started with. My cousin invited me to one of those investment seminars. We always see those around
Yep.
here in St. Louis. And I went to one and they, talked a really good game. And my cousin and I invested in their program. And when I say a hefty investment, I'm sure you guys probably have seen some of those, companies along the way. But it was a hefty investment. And my cousin and I went in with their program. It did give us a foundation, but I've learned so much on top of that since then that I can only be grateful for what they've started me with. But
Mhm.
that was I'll say that's my official trading journey is 2019 in October when I went to that seminar. I got re-excited about learning how to trade. They talked about different methods of trading. It talked about how to find what we want to trade and all of that good stuff. I was initially thinking Forex, but then, the trainer really talked me into, based on how I wanted to trade, futures. And so that's what I started with back then. And so I've only been a year and a couple of months into
Mhm.
this futures trading journey, and it has been a ride.
Yeah. So has your futures been a mixture of NQ and ES, or has it just been focusing on one index?
So it's been four actually. I started
Okay.
with ES, ENQ, gold, and crude oil. So those
Okay.
are my four that I was trading. But I know me, and I had to whittle it down to one or two things because I felt like having all these charts open, trying to look at different charts at the same time, it was overwhelming. And so I really
Mhm.
narrowed it down to ES and NQ. I've learned that NQ leads ES, a lot. So I was like,
Yep.
okay, if I watch those two, maybe I won't get so distracted.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. So, like many students and like many traders, we kind of always start off with options, and that's something that I did too because there's always that promise of small money can become
Hmm.
large money, but futures is just as effective, and I think sometimes it's foreshadowed and not really understood by people.
Yep.
So it's great that you got introduced to futures at early in your career because some people still don't have the knowledge about what futures actually is.
Right. Right. And I do like from the descriptions I was given at the time when I first started this, I was still thinking stock options. But I know how complicated that can be, right? I mean,
Yeah.
any of this can be complicated. But when they started to explain to me the difference between options, Forex, and futures, I navigated to futures naturally. And so, I wanted to go with my gut there. Okay, pick one, learn that. And if I want to add on other ways to trade or other assets and things to trade, I can do that. But I really, again, I know me, I need to learn one thing at a time.
And those 2 points are very important. And I want to spend some time talking about that for new traders is you don't need to trade, 5 or 10 different things to make money
Mhm.
in trading, right? You can just trade futures, just ES or NQ on a daily basis and do very well. And I know a
Absolutely.
lot of traders that do that. So I think there's a misconception that you need to be in everything. But really, if you just want to make money, like you said, mastering one thing at a time is very, very important.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And I really like the quote, scared money don't make money.
Yes.
And that is so true. And one thing in trading is it takes a specific type of person to be a trader. You have to have
Absolutely.
courage, you have to have grit, and you have to have consistency because trading will knock you on your ass. And if you don't
Oh
know how to
man.
get back up, and if you become scared after that, and you're not able to take the trades, you're not going to succeed.
Absolutely. And you know what? This trading game in just this last year or so, I have learned so much about myself. That's the
Yeah.
craziest thing. Like I came into this thinking, oh, I'm getting ready to trade, I'm getting ready to make some money. They told me I can make thousands of dollars a month,
Yeah.
and the biggest thing I've learned is me. Isn't that crazy? Like
That
I
is
am learning more about me. Just personal growth has come out of this journey the most. And I think most people are going to start realizing that as well, especially new people. It's not getting in there to trade. Anybody can show you a chart and try to tell you what to do. But until you really know and learn who you are and how you react to different things, for instance, we're not taught to lose. When have we ever been taught to lose? In school, at
exactly.
home, nowhere. We're always taught to be a winner, and coming in number two is worse, right? So it's like when we lose a trade, just think about the psychology of it all. When we lose a trade, we as humans take that as we are a loser. We take it so personally. And so
That's
that can
very true.
damage, right? That can damage our trading game. That can damage what we do. We try to stay out of the next trade. And that's where scare comes in. Because when
Hmm.
we have one loss, it's like, oh, I'm afraid to take the next one because it's the same conditions, but the last one lost. And
Hmm.
so now we're like, okay, if I lose this one, I'm really a loser. I can never trade. I went through all of this, guys. I told myself I can't be a trader because I'm losing and it's the right setup. What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? All of that stuff. I put it back on myself and took it all personally.
Totally agree. So what are some tips you have to overcome that fear, or when you have a drawdown, like you said, how did
Mhm.
you keep trading and get through it without giving up?
How much time you got, Rich?
Uh,
I read, here's something that I highly recommend. It's a book. It's Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas.
yep, that's a
Um,
very popular book. Hmm.
yes, I read that book. That was one of the first trading books I read, and I read that book first on purpose. I did not need another how to read technicals or how to look at a chart or what are candlesticks. I did all that by this point, right? And so I'm like, okay, what else am I missing? Mark Douglas was on point. I like binged all of his stuff on YouTube, all of his presentations. I even read his other book, The Disciplined Trader. But
Yep.
Trading in the Zone, I highly recommend that book. That book really got me into the mind of the psychology of trading, and he really honed in on having that edge like casinos do. He gave us the analogy of being a casino or being the house or being the gambler, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, do I identify myself as a gambler? I really don't. I don't even want to go to a casino. I don't even go to casinos. But it's like, how can I give myself that edge of a house and look at things from a higher level, from a 30,000 foot view, and not looking at trade by trade? This one win, this one loses, this one win, this one loses. No, it's more of how can I look at trading from a higher level over time? Like, look, the law of large numbers, right? The law of randomness. He really honed that in for me. And it's like, okay, if I just take a set of 20 trades for whatever I'm trading, and then I go back and say, okay, is this good? Is this okay for me to go the next set of 20 trades? Or do I need to tweak one thing? Kind of how we learn the scientific method in school, right? How can we take a control and then change one variable to see how that's going to increase or decrease what it is that we're doing? And so I took that method and I started trading instead of this used to be me, Rich. I would go and I would trade, right, through
Mhm.
whatever method I was doing at the time. And I was like, oh, okay, that one trade worked. Great. So it should work next time. Right.
Yep.
I'm not thinking randomness. I'm thinking I know the market. I can beat the market. Right.
Yep.
My little old $50 or $100 can beat the market. Right.
Yeah.
And so I would take the next trade, and it's the same setup, right? It's supposed to work, and it loses. And then
Yep.
I would go to an entirely different strategy. Like that strategy didn't work. Oh, you've only taken 2 trades though, boo.
Yeah.
Right
That's
now
so
you're saying
true.
this doesn't work. And so I hopped around at the beginning and remember, I had only gone to this seminar in October. So
Mhm.
from October through, I'll give myself about 6 months before I kind of really settled down. But for 6 months, I went from strategy to strategy. Oh, this trade didn't work. It must not work over time. This doesn't work in this situation. It must never work. So I went to this guru, that guru, this YouTube channel, that YouTube channel, this method. And so I was all over the place, you know?
Yeah. And
And I,
and I feel like that's something that all traders go through. It's
yes,
because everybody wants to be chasing the 100% accuracy, like you're saying.
absolutely. And I
And
didn't know, you know.
and I would say, Lakeisha, what you're sharing here is absolute gold, and it's the real struggles that traders go through, right?
Yeah.
But I guess the biggest difference is you kept coming back, right?
Oh yeah.
No matter how hard it was, no matter how much times you lost, you believed in yourself, and
Yeah.
that's that's what it really takes, that grit. And
Well, you know why, Rich?
yeah,
Because I have a bigger why. I don't
okay,
know if anyone has read Start with Why by Simon Sinek. That's an
hmm,
awesome book as well. You know, one of the words that I have in life is legacy. And so everything that I do is based on how I want to build a legacy for my
yeah,
family. And so this is just one part of that. This is not something that I'm saying I'm going to do and take for the rest of my life. It's just a skill I think I can learn to help pass down to the next generation or to help build the wealth that I'm looking to build along with other things that I'm doing. And so that's what
um,
keeps me going.
so
It's like,
powerful. That's so
yeah,
powerful, Lakeisha.
yeah, having that why.
And
Like, why are we doing this?
I'm getting goosebumps listening to that. But that is that is that is so on point. It's you're more likely to stick to something or to succeed at something if you know the reason why, and your why is bigger than you, right?
Absolutely.
It's got to be bigger than money, and it has to be bigger than fame if it's going to be something that's going to last a lifetime, right? And for you,
Absolutely.
like you said, it's giving back, it's helping the next generation, and
Hmm.
that's so admirable. And that's why you've been able to turn the corner. And it's been amazing to hear your story. And the psychology part, like we were talking about before this, is often underrated, but it was
Yes.
probably the most important part of trading.
And can I say, I want to say one more thing about
Yeah.
that in terms of psychology too. When I first got into this, I'm an engineer by trade, you know, by education, project manager. I've been a web developer, designer, all of that stuff throughout my career.
Hmm.
And so I kind of felt like, and this is just me, just being real. I kind of felt like, oh, this is simple. I can learn how to do this. This, you know, I can do this. I am technical by nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, and this got back to what I was saying earlier about knowing yourself is when I got into this, I'm like, I can do this. You know, I was gung ho, I was excited. And then when things weren't turning out as they, you know, were telling us, when I say they, I mean the companies and the gurus I was working with, when
Hmm.
it wasn't working out that way, it came back to, am I the failure? You know, how I don't know
Hmm.
how many times I've come back to, can I really do this? Is this
Yeah.
for me? Am
Yep.
I stupid?
Yeah. Yeah. Because, like you said, it's some people in this industry, they make it seem like it's your fault,
Yes.
right? Even if it's not. So there's a lot of darkness in this industry, and like I always try to tell people, is you got to trust in yourself, and you got to know who you put your trust into, because
Absolutely.
a lot of people out there don't even trade, but they sell programs, they sell courses, they do all of that, but they don't really have the experience, and they are just out there to be a money grab. So, we all have been through that, though. I feel like that's just a part of this game. We're going to
Yeah.
go through that. Even I did when I first started trading, where people take advantage of you, but you have to, like you said, you have to be able to see through that and really introspect on yourself and say, is it really me, or is it something else going on here? So how did you get through that? Like, how did you make the next step after feeling like it was your fault?
I have a trading partner, which is something I recommend everyone has.
Okay.
Another one of my cousins was trading Forex. And
Mhm.
so even though we weren't trading the same things, it is more so we're looking at the charts together, we're looking at the technicals together, we're both technical traders. And so we worked very well in that we can look at a chart, any chart, and help each other try to understand it from our different perspectives. And so he was my rock and I was his. So when he got to a point where he was thinking the same thing, we was like, okay, cuz no, we got this. We just have to, reevaluate or whatever. So having that accountability with someone else is huge in anything in life, right? Having
Yeah.
accountability partners or, just people you can bounce ideas off of, that was extremely helpful. This is a lonely game, guys. If you try to do
That's
it by
very true.
yourself.
That is very true.
So do not try to do it by yourself. I think that's the biggest thing that helps me keep going because we still trade together,
And
so
even me for my mentor, I talk to him every day before the open. So
see, awesome.
we still do that. So that's such a great tool. You don't have to fight this battle on your own.
Right.
Join a community, find someone you trust, have a mentor, whatever. Just you need someone to keep you sane because you're literally
Mm-hmm.
looking at charts all day by yourself.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So we had some great tips here, having a trading partner,
Mm-hmm.
um, trusting in yourself
Yes.
and being skeptical about certain things, right? Not taking everything certain experts say at face value because you have to do your own due diligence, right?
Yes.
And
I
yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of due diligence, I was going to add in, I have become the back testing queen. Nobody likes to back test, man.
Yeah, I love it. I've seen some of your back testing and it's absolutely awesome. And guys, that's
Man.
what it takes. And just
Yes.
like you, Lakeisha, I've been spent thousands of hours doing these back tests because it's what really builds confidence and it's what
Yes.
chart time.
Absolutely. And that's another thing you asked, how can I keep going even with, losses or anything like that, or if my psychology is not right the first, one day or what have you. It's because I know through my back testing, and I'm not talking about just 2 or 3 trades, 4 or 5 trades. I'm talking about 120. I do 20 sets of 20, but up to 100 at a time. Right.
Not
And
like you're
so
at the gym.
yes, yes. And when I look at my results and I record everything, and I'm like, you know what? Over time, this is the percentage or the profit factor or whatever it is, the metric that I'm going after, right? This is what happened. So when I have a loss, nowadays, I can look at it as, I could say bummer, right? Like, bummer, that loss. But it's like, okay, that's one of the losses that goes toward this long-term 30,000 foot level metric that I
Wow.
know occurs, right?
Very, very powerful. Yep.
So,
And that's exactly how you build systems and you build confidence. And like all of my systems that I have, that I share with people comes through that back testing part, right?
yes,
Because
yes.
how do you know something works if you don't have the data behind it, right? So
And initially, I was just taking somebody else's, oh, we have a 90 something percent win rate. I didn't really know what that meant in the beginning. Like, I didn't know you could have a 90% win rate. But, Rich, let me tell you, one of the strategies I was trading early last year
mhm.
had a high win rate, but the risk to reward was horrible. So,
Wow.
even though the win rate was high, I was still losing money.
So let's take some time to talk about that. So,
Sure.
people look over risk to reward because like we were talking about earlier in the conversation is that people want to be right, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they're right more times than not, they feel better. But that doesn't really translate to profit and loss,
Nope.
right? So if let's as an example here. So let's say, was it like you're risking 5 points to make 1 point? Was it something like that?
It was, so this was a scalping strategy. So
Mm.
it was more of like a 2.5 risk to 1 reward.
Oh
That's what
my
the
God.
factor was. Yes. So if you lost one
Oh my
trade
God.
that day, you had to trade 3 times to even come back to break even.
Wow.
Yes.
That hurts me just to hear about that.
To hear about, I didn't understand though at the time how that worked out and everything. I just looked at that high percentage rate. It's like, oh, I can trade that,
Wow.
but hey, we live and we learn.
Yep. No, so, and that's probably one of the best experience you have,
Yeah,
right? And that's kind of the opposite of what I do. And we're gonna get there talking about, you know, how I helped you with a few things. But
yes,
the main thing, let's talk about that freaking traders, about that risk to reward and everything. So, like you
sure.
said, okay, so if you have one trade, you make a point. Okay, you have another trade, you make a point. And
Hmm.
then your third trade on the day, you lose 2.5 points.
Hmm.
You're negative.
Yes.
After all of that hard work, you're sitting there, you're putting in your time, you're staring at the chart, you're doing everything, you're paying commissions, and you're still negative?
And you won too, right? So what's
Yeah.
that, a 66% win rate?
Yeah, 66% win rate. Wow. And we're not gonna call out any names or anything on
No, we're
the
not.
podcast, but guys, you guys need to be aware, right?
Yes.
That's something that I wrote about extensively in my book as well, is that, and this is something I actually tell all my traders, especially Lakeisha, when we first started, said, hey, if we can get 2-to-1 risk to reward, we only need to win 34% of the time. So 34 out of 100 trades.
Man, that sounded so good to me.
Yeah, right. Because I guess in a way, you got what that allowed you to do, even though it was a flawed system, is you learn what not to do. And sometimes that's the most important thing. Learn what not to do so that
Absolutely.
you don't you can experience it, because a lot of times you have to experience something before you can actually learn it. And sometimes hearing other people or reading about things is not enough, right?
Nope.
So awesome,
Nope.
awesome. Okay, so Lakeisha, I guess the next part is I I want to talk to you about how did you really find your edge, and if you could describe it a little bit for everyone, kind of what you do on a daily basis
Hmm.
and what's been working for you, in terms of your risk reward, your trailing strategies, your scaling out, your setups. If you could just give us a high level of what you're doing these days and how that's changed over time.
Sure, sure, sure. So now I have, which let me say too, another tip I want to give people is have a trading plan. I don't care if it's a one pager. Mine is actually about 60 something pages now, but that's because I have a lot of screenshots and things in there.
Yep.
But have that trading plan of what you're going to do every single day. When are you going to get in and out of trades? What are those executions looking like? So that I felt like I needed that to really trade in a more robotic way, per se, right? And trying to keep
Yep.
emotion out of the trade.
Yep.
Does this trade fit my parameters? If not, I don't care how good it looks. You have to pay. And I know, we sit on the edge of our seat sometimes like, oh my God, this trade looks good, but it doesn't meet all my parameters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to
Absolutely.
let it go. And so I'm getting more confident in doing that. And that's working out really well for me. Win or lose, right?
Mhm.
That I feel better when I follow my plan that I put in place based on all of my back testing, right?
Yep.
And
And
so my
that's very
trading
important.
plan, yes, my trading plan is up every day that I'm trading. And so I'm a morning trader. I like to trade the AM session, the New York session for the futures market. And so by 8:15, I have my level set from yesterday, which is one of the things I've learned from you. Thank you very much. So I have my level set from yesterday, the high, the low, and the close. And let's see, I have my major zones set. I trade the 5-minute chart. So I may look at the day every now and then to see what major levels are set on the day, but usually I'm looking at a 1 hour because I'm trading the 5-minute chart. So 1 hour, 15-minute, 5-minute are really like my three main time frames I look at, right? And so I have those levels set. When 8:30 starts, I don't trade anything between 8:30 and 8:35. I want to let the market settle down.
So that's
Uh,
CST, right? So that'll be
yes.
equivalent to the New York 9:30 open.
Oh, yes, 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 yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I'm in Central Time. So yeah. Excuse me. So yes, so I don't trade the first five. I didn't used to trade the first 15 minutes, right?
Hmm.
I was scared of the open. That's another thing. I was scared of the open because I knew that it could just be so wild. People have these
Yeah.
orders waiting to be filled. I don't know which way it's going to go. It's like, I'll just come back at 8:45, right?
Hmm.
But learning through you the 5-minute opening strategy, which thank you so very much. I feel so much more confident in because that's still really the open for me. It's just 5 minutes later, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
that kind of helped me because I really wanted to look for an opening strategy, how to trade the open. And
Hmm.
so that gave me that strategy to trade that open and feel confident in doing so, just waiting for that first 5-minute candle. And so I can, step away. 8:30 comes around, make sure I got my water at my table. This is another thing, guys. Have, at your station, be sure that it's a place that you can feel comfortable in. I'm at my desk. I have my screens. You don't have to have all that, but I'm just saying I got, 4 screens here, but that's because I'm looking at different things, different charts. I have my water ready. I got some music going in the background, just, some little nice trading music,
And
concentration type
it gets you
music.
in the zone.
Absolutely. Let's see. What else? And I have my window open and I'm in my office. It's just like you're in that space to be ready to trade. That's another thing. If you are mad about something or you have any other issues going on, kids in the background and all this type of stuff, you may not want to trade that day because that can really throw you off.
And we see athletes have that kind of like ritual, pre-game ritual,
Yes.
They have their zone, they get ready for the day or get ready for the big game. And, we are athletes, traders, we are athletes. We are paid based on our performance.
Thank you. Yes.
You got to do everything that it takes to be able to perform at a high level, right?
Yes.
And like you said, those, okay, knowing this is my time frame, this is what I focus on, and being comfortable in your station are all key. So when is do you have a hard cutoff on the day? And how many trades do you usually take per day these days?
Yes, so I do have a full-time job, and I am fortunate to have a flexible job. So I usually trade between 8:30 and 10 my time, Central Time.
Okay.
And so maybe an hour, hour and a half, and in that time frame, it may be no more than 3 trades. I don't want to take no more than 3 trades. It could be just one. It could actually be none. If no setup was done that day, it could just be none. But I'm actively watching the charts about an hour and a half for the morning session. And that's it. Whatever happens in that session is what happens. I don't revenge trade anymore. I was like, okay, I got to get back to break even. I got to make another trade. I don't feel that anymore. It's like, let's live the trade another day. If I have a losing day, then let's come back tomorrow and see what happens. And again, it's all part of the overall 30,000 foot view of the trades I take.
Exactly.
And so that's it. That's it. I'm loving the fact that I have the opportunity to trade in the mornings. It works best for me. I tried the evening session. Doesn't work for me at all.
Usually very choppy and very
you
slow,
don't get the low liquidity. Yeah. Now that's not to discourage anyone else who, if that's the time you have to trade, do the exact same thing. Have your ritual, get ready to trade, have your level set for that session, whatever session is you're trading, and just be in the zone for that session. But you have to know what works for you.
Yes, that's very, very key. And for some people, day trading might not work for them either.
Right.
And that's another thing. And so do you do any type of swing trading right now, or are you just mostly focused on day trading?
I'm focused on day trading because I have a small trading account and I trade micros out of it. And the margin for overnight trading at first was too much. So I was like, okay, let's just get in and out. Let's do some either some scalp trades or just some day trading opportunities. So I can be out of the market. I want to be out of the market by the afternoon. If I have a trade set and it has not come to fruition yet, it's not closed yet, I'll just let it ride. But I don't want to start a trade after 11 my time is 12 Eastern. So that's around the lunchtime. I don't want to start trades after that.
And that's a good point for people with small accounts is once you go past RTH, the margin requirement usually doubles.
Yes.
So you can't, if you had a contract or 2 contracts during RTH, you probably won't be able to roll it into the overnight section.
Right.
So that's a very, very good point. And that's something I struggled with when I first started trading too. Now I don't worry about that because my account's at enough size, but it's something to consider for new traders that want to get into swing trading. For example, there's a lot of margin requirement for holding things overnight. So you got to be aware of that.
And you have to have larger stops to let the trade work itself out. Right. And Definitely. So you're risking more. And I know my risk right now is small. So I have to, the way that I trade works for me with the account size that I have and how I want to trade.
That's awesome. So the last thing I want to talk about was, we went through some great tips and everything for everyone. And so how I met you was you reached out to me on my website, you sent me an email, and you found me through YouTube, which I was pretty shocked because I didn't realize that my YouTube was actually picking up some steam because I kind of just do it for, with the hope that one day it'll reach a large audience. But compared to many other channels, I'm not there yet. But still, I was very pleasantly surprised that you found me through YouTube. And we got started with the 2-week boot camp.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your experience with that? And kind of overall, how did it go for you? And I know you've been very successful since then, but I guess what was the missing link that I was able to help you with through
Well, first of all, let me say I'm so glad you posted on YouTube because that's where I play most.
that?
And so I actually went back through my history and I had found one of your other videos a while back. It had to have been at least a couple months or 2 or 3 or so back, but I didn't really do anything, I guess, with that information at the time. But then I started looking at Fibonacci and I was like, okay, I want to learn how to draw the Fibonacci tool the most effective way, or how to really use it to enhance my trading. And when I did that, that's when your channel came back up. And so I was like, oh, okay. And from then I didn't realize you had and usually when I find a good video, I go to that person's channel, see what other videos they have.
Yeah.
Rich, when I tell you I binged almost all your videos at that time, I was like, I am liking this dude.
That's awesome. That's
I like
awesome.
his style, I like the way you kept everything short and sweet and simple. Right. And so I was like, let me go to his website and see what else he has going on. And when I reached out to you and you replied almost immediately, at least within a day, and I asked another question and you gave me your number. And I was like, oh, let me call this dude right now.
Yeah.
So as soon as you did that, I was like, okay, I need to call him just to talk to him. He gave me his number. That's unheard of these days,
Yeah.
And so I felt really confident in the fact that you did that, and that I can actually call you and ask questions before I sign up for anything, to get a feel for who you are outside of the YouTube video. And when I talk to you on the phone, when I say it was the exact same voice, exact same way that you talk on your YouTube videos, that gave me even more confidence that you are pretty much the same person everywhere. And so,
That's
hey,
awesome.
on that first phone call, I said, I'm in.
Yeah. And like Lakeisha said, I try to be as personable with my students and with the people that I work with, because I have nothing to hide. So call me at any time, text me at any time. I'm here to help. At the end of the day, if you want to help somebody, I don't see how you can help them without meeting them one-on-one, with talking to them. Because when I was learning, I was lucky to have a mentor that was basically my best friend.
Awesome.
So that's how I succeeded. So I try to be that person for traders. If you don't have someone that you trust, then how are you gonna succeed? How are you gonna
Right.
ask questions? Are you gonna be too scared to say certain things because you're worried that the person might criticize you or might make you feel
Absolutely.
dumb, right? And I try my best to just be there for everyone and be honest. And I was so happy that I found you. And then I guess continue your story from there. So then we started off with the 2 weeks boot camp, and then we
Yes.
had our introduction call. And then what was that missing link that really, really helped you?
One was that opening strategy. It gave me confidence to say I can actually be in the market earlier than I was initially. Like I said,
Yeah.
I would wait to 8:45, almost 9 o'clock, trying to let the market settle and do what it's going to do and feel more confident in taking a trade. But now, especially after I back tested the ORB strategy, or the opening range breakout strategy,
Mhm.
and gaps, like I didn't know anything about trading gaps, right? And
Wow,
so just,
really? Wow.
yeah,
Hmm.
I was scared of that too. It's like, oh, it's a gap. Don't know what it's going to
Yeah.
do. And so once I put that into with kind of how I was already trading at the time, that just gave me more opportunities. And it wasn't something that was totally different than what I was doing. It was what you presented to me in the ebook, and the strategies that you're using. It still spoke to me as a trader that I can do this, I can add this to what I'm already doing.
Yeah.
So I can have an extra trade probably that day, or that could be my one trade that day, and I'm done.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I could be done by
Yep.
8:45. And
And
so, yeah, so what you helped me with was just adding in a couple extra things, or methods, I would say, that
mhm.
I can use to be in and out of the market with confidence in the mornings when I trade. And the biggest thing that you kind of helped me see remember when we first talked, I told you I was working on the point system,
Yeah, the
right?
point system. Yep.
Yeah. So, give me a point or two out the market and I'm good. But then the risk to that was higher than a point or two. You have to risk more than a point or two to actually win something to let a trade work. So when you told me to look at things from an R or reward perspective, that totally clicked for me. Because it's like I can look at my day, week, or month, and eventually a year and say, here is my reward for what I've done. Exactly. Whether it's a negative or positive, it's an R. So now when I do my trades, I still track everything. I still track the ticks and the dollar amounts, but I'm more so focused on, what did I get out of the market today? 1R, 2R, 0.5R, -1R, or whatever it is. That makes me, it's a psychological thing. It's in my head. It just makes me feel better.
You're not chasing a dollar amount at that point.
Absolutely.
You're translating it to an R, which is just 1 to 2% of your capital.
Absolutely. And it just made it so much simpler to me to think of it in that way.
And that's something that I want to spend a few seconds talking about is so many traders, especially traders that trade futures, they are in this mentality of point chasing, right?
Yeah.
And that is not what the markets are doing these days. Maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, trading ES, it was very methodical, as in you could risk 2 points to make 4 points, right? But with the volatility that we have, some days the market moves 100 points. So if you have a 2-point stop loss, that's not going to work, right? So I always tell traders, don't chase the points, chase percentages. So if you have if you're risking, let's say today you're risking $100. It doesn't matter if it's going up 50 points, 5 points, or 2 points. You have to size your position so that you only lose $100. And a lot of traders, the biggest thing that they struggle with is they have a few good days. Let's say Monday to Thursday, make good money. On Friday, the market opens up and we're very volatile and they lose everything in that day. And the easy fix to that is if the market is more volatile, just lower your contracts. So you need to constantly be adjusting your size to meet the volatility. And what I found was I did read a few books on futures and stuff, and I feel like a lot of the old school style of trading is based on, risk a point, risk 2 points. But in my personal opinion, and from what I've been trading and working with traders, that doesn't work anymore, because when the market's moving really fast, your 2-point stop will not last, And I guess one of the other great things is, like you said, you love the Fibonacci, and that's something that pulled you to me, is when we do the Fibonacci, we have predefined, everything's defined. We come in on the 618 or the 50, whatever fib you want to use, your stop loss is, let's say, on the 786. So that is always going to be set. And that makes trading so easy because it's almost just like a formula.
Yes.
Yep. And that's so awesome. And yeah, so just to recap, so that R system, like you said, it's giving you like a mental relief, right?
Yes, yes, you said it perfectly. Mental relief.
And it's just like, trading it's fun again, right? And I felt the same way, because when I started trading futures, it used to be like, I'm up $100, I'm down $500, I'm up, right? But that doesn't really translate to performance, because if the market's moving really volatile one day and you make $1,000, and then the rest of the days you make $100, that's not consistent business model, right? But what if we can make sure, what if we can set it up so that you can make $200 every day? The only way to do that is to size. You have to size yourself properly, right? And like you said, it's just about having that mental relief that to give you that edge. And the opening strategy you're talking about, the one thing I want to say is, even though I gave you the strategy, or I helped teach you the strategy, you went back and back tested it, right?
Yeah.
And you put in a lot of work to feel comfortable about it. And back testing is such an underrated thing, right?
And I can take your word for it. I already trusted you, but that's just in my nature. I want to understand when it works, when it doesn't work. If it's something I can pull out of it, can I enhance what you taught me for my own style? That's just me. That's how I like to do it. You came up with this through your own back testing, right? Anything that you do, I'm sure you came to that conclusion based on your own set of results. I want to be able to do the same, because I want to be independent. I don't want to have to depend on someone else's strategy for life.
Exactly.
Thank you for giving me the strategy, but now I want to take it and make it work for me. I want to, do I need to tweak anything? As of now, no. I mean, I
Hmm.
just do what you teach. So,
Yeah.
but that works for me.
But
And so
here's the thing is, it some people, for example, they might learn things, but they don't execute on it because they're still not confident, right? But the back testing gives you confidence because you've
absolutely.
seen it. You've done 100 samples. So obviously you're going to feel better about it once you actually have the results in front of you and you've done it. And that's something that's very, very underrated.
And guys, the ORB strategy or the gap strategy is the easiest thing to trade because it's only the first 5 minute candle of the day. And so
Yeah,
you just go
exactly.
back, you just go back, what, 30 days, just to even do just 1 month of 30 days and then do another month. I think ultimately when I showed you last, it was 4 months. I think I went back 6 months so far and tested every first 5 minute candle for ORB and gaps and what happened. And
Wow.
it really doesn't take a whole lot of time.
No, it doesn't. And if you, let's say you do, 10 minutes a day, and you add that up, at the end of the year, you're going to have so much data,
Yep.
right? And that ORB strategy, the 5 minute opening range breakout, that I gave everyone that for free. That's on my YouTube. It's full strategies right there.
Yep.
And like you said, it's just, you just got to execute it. That's the problem with a lot of traders. They don't execute because they don't have the confidence. The confidence comes from chart time, and chart time comes from backtesting. So it's all connected at the end of the day. And would you say something as simple like as the opening range breakout from your results, if you just trade that, would you be profitable?
Yes, it came out to let's see, in the last 6 months, I don't have my data open right now, but some months were 8 to 10 R, some months was maybe 1 R, 2 R,
Mhm.
but averaging over an entire year, that one strategy so far has been positive.
Exactly. And that's such a great point to wrap up our conversation here. It's that it's not really the strategy that is the problem with traders. The problem is the lack of trading psychology, position sizing, and actually execution,
And
right?
consistency, we can't forget about that
Yeah, and
one.
yeah, the consistency part is you got to be there every day, right?
Yes, yes.
And from back testing, for example, if you miss that opening range breakout, let's say on Tuesday, that gave you a good winner, you can really hurt your month,
Yep.
right? Because that might be the big winner for the month. So sometimes day trading especially really comes down to, are you here? If you show up, you have a high chance of succeeding.
And don't pick and choose the trade. If it fits the parameters, take the trade. That
Wow,
way you can stay
that's such a good
consistent
point.
with, yeah, with the reward, or just with the set of results that you'll get. If you say, okay, I'm going to trade it today but not tomorrow, I mean, it really messes up the results, I think.
Yeah, and like you said, um, imagine you lost 3 or 4 trades in a row, right?
Hmm.
And then you come and you see, hey, there's my opening range breakout that I want to take, but I don't feel comfortable because I lost 4 trades in a row. And
Hmm.
then that one becomes a winner, right? And
Yep.
that mentality that you have right there, that's what it takes, just take everything as it is. If it fits the
Yep.
parameters, we take the trade.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, it takes time. It
It
will
does.
come. And like I said, I feel like I'm still a newbie though. I've only been doing this full time, and when I say I put in the work, I put in the work. Almost every single trading day, I'm at my computer. Whether it's because if I missed the open, or if I couldn't trade that day, or had to work or something, I come back and back test that day. So every
Beautiful.
single day, I'm doing something.
Beautiful. And guys, these tips that Lakeisha is sharing are absolutely golden. It's like, if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or any skilled trade, a plumber,
Hmm.
even technician, you got to put the work into your craft, right? And as traders, this is our work. This is how we build our skill. It's through backtesting,
Yes.
because you only really have an hour and a half in the day trading the open, but it goes by so quickly, and you're so in the zone that you can't really slow it down and get much out of it unless you really do a back test, or you replay the market. Then you can
Hmm.
really say, you can pause. You can just say, hey, I'm gonna pause right here and try to do my analysis. But doing that in real time is a totally different story.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Which brings me to one more tip, if you don't mind.
No, no problem.
Speaking of being in the market live, when I tell you this is another part of the emotional part of trading and the psychology of it all. When you have your own money that you're
Yeah,
trading, the game totally changes in your head if you're not prepared for it. And so
agree.
I would highly advise people to stay in sim as long as possible, to do back testing, to get that confidence before they put in their real money into an account, right? I will say from personal experience, I think I came out of sim too early. I was trying to pass an evaluation account so that I can get a, one of the company's performance accounts. And I was using that as sim, and that was my mistake, right? I came out of actual sim too early and tried to, get a performance account with real money and put my own money in and all of that stuff. Hey, stay in sim as long as possible. Don't be too quick to come out of sim to say you got to make $100,000 this year. Hopefully this is not the real, your only thing that you're doing, but I say stay in sim as long as possible. Not too long. It's going to be a balancing act. So you have to get some of that experience though of having like your real money on the line, because you'll get to experience what that emotion is.
Yes.
Right. So you can work with it.
Agreed. And Lakeisha, I want to thank you so much for all the tips you're sharing with everybody. Everything you say really resonates with me because we've all been there. We all understand the trader's journey to a certain extent. And you're hearing your story it just really does give me a lot of goosebumps. So thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I
if
guess
anybody has any questions or anything for me personally, they can find me at Uncommon Chick on any social network.
Yeah,
Uncommon
that's exactly what I want to say is
okay.
You have your social network out there, Uncommon Chick. So guys, you have any questions or you want to talk to Lakeisha about anything, she is a very willing to help person.
Yes.
I saw you in the Discord chat the other day, just giving free tips and helping people, and you're just an amazing person, and I'm really happy to have been a part of your journey and help you. And from here on out, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna be in touch with you, and I want to see you.
You better.
Yeah, definitely will. So I guess in closing remarks here, what I wrote down a few things here that I wanted to highlight from our conversation, and it's really, I just wanted to highlight this, and then feel free to jump in if you have anything else to add. But scared money don't make money. That's going to be the title of this video. And it's really true, really true. If you don't have courage to come and take risk, you're not going to succeed in the market, because you have to take a risk. It's not guaranteed. It doesn't matter how great your strategy is. That doesn't mean you're going to make money. So you have to be willing to be bold and have courage in the market. And trading is a reflection of who you are. That is very true. And trading, it helps you with self-development. Right?
Definitely, yes.
You get to find your own demons, and what are you rushing to make money? Are you too conservative? Are you over leveraging? Are you revenge trading? Are you consistent? All of those things are a reflection of who you are. So trading allows us to see that from an objective perspective, because we sometimes, when we try to think about who we are, we don't know, because we have clouded images. But if we look at our trading performance, it'll tell you, right? It'll definitely tell you. And then the Mark Douglas book, Trading in the Zone.
Yes.
And then
highly recommend
that. And really just back testing for confidence, and having a trading partner has been two of the most important things to help you to become profitable.
That's it. Start there, guys.
Got it. And yeah, guys. So again, Lakeisha, Uncommon Chick. I'm gonna put some details about you in the description of the video, so people can reach out to you,
Awesome.
ask you questions, and I know you'll be more than willing to help anyone.
Absolutely.
On their journey. And again, I know you don't have to do this, Lakeisha, so I really do appreciate this, because the purpose of this video is to give traders another perspective and to show them that it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you start, it doesn't matter how many people have taken advantage of you, or how many books you've read. All of that doesn't matter. Anyone can do this if they are consistent and they have the purpose and they have that bigger why. And that is really something that stood out to me, is your bigger purpose. With that bigger purpose, nothing can stop you. All right.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, Lakeisha, again. And thank you guys for listening to this. And Lakeisha, all the best for you. And we're going to make sure that I'm going to be keeping in touch with you along your journey and helping you succeed.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, take care.